Dawson Rider Wiki.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here with my review of Lupinranger vs. Patranger episode 6. To start off, first of all, I just wanted to address last week's episode. I totally forgot to do the team of the episode. It was a bit of a mad dash last week to get the episode review out because the episode itself was a little bit late, so I recorded it at a different time than I usually set aside to record these videos, so I just wanted to make sure it was out roughly on time. But anyway, last week's team of the episode was going to go to Team Lupin because it should be kind of obvious. I mean, they got both mecha, so it's just kind of obvious. But anyway, as for this, that's all, folks. Signed out. Anyway, I'm going to be weird in this one, I can tell already. Anyway, as for this episode, it was a solid second part to this almost two-parter storyline. This one focused more on the Patrangers. Last week's, as I mentioned, was kind of more of a versus episode, and this week was a little more heavy on the Patrangers. In fact, like, I think we're about a quarter of the way into the episode before we even saw the Lupinrangers. And it largely focused on Kenjiro. Is Kenjiro's his name? If I got it wrong, it's like close. There's a K in there somewhere. Kenjiro's like sole focus on sort of his pride in losing to Lupin Red last week, and how that sort of distracted him. Like when they went out into the field to fight the Gangler this week, he's like, whoa, let's stall the Gangler so we can wait for the Lupinrangers to show up. And that cost them that, and it had Tsukasa reminding him, you know, of words that he imparted to her when they first joined the global police unit of, you know, our paycheck's nice or whatever other parts about the job is nice, but, you know, our #1 priority is protecting people. So it was kind of generic stuff, but it was like a nice beat for that, especially given the premise where you have like the antagonist and then you have like this rival team. And then, you know, it was brought to a head later when they're out in the field and they're fighting each other, and, you know, Lupin Red isn't entirely above it either. You know, like in the field, he was kind of, you know, well, getting off on it sounds like a weird way of putting it, but like on that Kenjiro was insecure and that he won, and was sort of taunting him and liked doing a little bit sparring with him in the field. And that's kind of a dumb distraction on both their parts, because I feel like up until now, the Lupinrangers have been a little bit more, mainly Kenjiro of the Patrangers is the one that's more about the fight against them too. But like the other two Patrangers seem to have their heads straight at the moment. But you know, it seemed like the Lupinrangers were a little bit above it. Like, you know, they'd fight him, taunt him a little bit, but they kind of had their priorities. But, you know, in the fight between the two in the field this week, it seemed like they were both kind of just being self-indulgent in that respect. And, you know, it led to a moment of sort of showcasing the differences between the teams when the Gangler fired, like, ninja star thingies at them, and Lupin Red dodged out of the way, and Ichigo took the shot, and then you kind of wonder why. I thought it was just going to be like, oh, because I have the strength to take it because I'm stronger than you or something. I don't know. But then, like, he collapsed into, like, a staircase thing, and the rebel fell down. The rebels fell down. He caught, like, Kanan and Ezra, and I think Hera was there, too. Zeb was fine. He's too heavy for him to catch. No. We caught Rubble, and you find out it's because there was a citizen there. So it sort of showcased that. And to be fair, I don't think Lupin Red knew the citizens were there, but it was kind of used to show the differences between the team and their priorities. Because, like, the Lupinrangers aren't bad, though. I don't see this as, like, a thing where, like in the episode about Gosei Knight, how he only cared about protecting the people and not, or the planet and not the people, so he didn't care about endangering citizens. I don't think it was like that. I think it was just meant to showcase their different priorities. Like, obviously, the Patrangers are going to be more aware of the civilians around. I don't think that Lupin Red would have dodged out of the way if he was, like, in front of a kid or a civilian that he knew was there and been like, ha, tough luck! I mean, would that have been funny? Maybe. But, I think that it's not meant to show, like, oh, Lupinrangers are bad guys. They're just not as aware of stuff like that, and kind of showcase that. And I think that they meant to, at least this is the vibe I got off of it, show that the reason that Lupin Red let them go after Goody stole the bike for the Patrangers was because he sort of respected what Ichigo did. Again, I feel like even though Lupin Red kind of was a little bit indulgent in this episode, cocky about the fact that he brought out like such insecurity in Ichigo, I feel like their heads are a little more straight in a certain respect. Like they seem to be more willing to see things from the, not the police's point of view, but to see their value. Whereas the Patrangers, especially Keijiro, is more like, oh, those damn thieves, and these guys are like, well, they're doing, you know, the Patrangers are doing good. Just let them do their good, whatever. Again, it's not perfect, but I just feel like they have their head straight a little bit more. And I keep saying they, but it's mainly Ichigo that's like all about the rivalry, whereas the other two are just kind of like, oh, whatever, and you know, Nigo's at the restaurant eating and flirting with Lupin Yellow and stuff like that. That was kind of a funny scene, but yeah, so I think it's interesting. It's an interesting dynamic at play with their two different approaches, but we did see Keijiro at the end sort of reflecting on his fight conversation in last week's episode about like, oh, we have to do this, or we're fighting because we have to, and sort of made him curious, like, who he is and like what his motivations are. So I don't think he's an entirely idiot. He's just a little more hot-headed, because again, the Lupinrangers aren't doing anything bad. Like, they're not stealing anything that's actually bad to steal. They're literally stealing from the bad guys. Speaking of, it was a really cool moment when the Patrangers were about to do the finisher on the monster, and like the Lupinrangers had to rush in time to get the collection piece out of him. I thought that was a really cool moment, although it was kind of funny that they're just showcasing the Patrangers care about citizens, and they're like, we're gonna blow you up if you get in the way! Like, but still, it was a cool moment action-wise, and I like that, again, we're not rushing the full debut of these auxiliaries. Like, you know, we saw the bike in the finisher, but then they used the helicopter in big mode, and we'll see the bike next week, so I liked that. And, you know, at the end, they tried to turn the stuff over to the butler guy, and he took the item we recovered this week, but he let them keep the plane, obviously, because it works with all the versus changer systems and stuff. But yeah, overall, this was a very solid episode. I thought it was a good follow-up to last week, good bit of focus on the Patrangers' perspective, and a little bit character work, and sort of highlighting the differences between the two. Overall, I give it an 8. Anyway, until next time, if you like, comment, subscribe. It's Dawson Ryder, signing out.